This is the Jack Murphy Podcast. Here's your host, Jack Murphy.
All right, welcome back to the Jack Murphy Podcast. I am, of course, Jack Murphy, and today he's back. You know, John Garrett ran away with his air fryer. I don't know if you know about this or not, Alpha, but John Garrett.
Who wouldn't run away with their air fryer?
Well, John has never cooked. He's a guy that he's married 3 times, and then he would eat all of his meals out. He would go to various fast food places and ate everything out. And so when he decided, boy, this is really getting expensive. I need to learn how to cook. He does all his shopping at Walmart. So he goes to Walmart, buys an air fryer, and he's just hooked on it. And so he wants to spend more time with his air fryer. I said, okay. So he's going to be on with us every Thursday. And Alpha, and let me introduce Alpha in case you missed the episode where he joined us. Famous actor. He's star of stage, screen, television, cable, you name it. And he's done it. Big shows on cable. We'll get into that a little bit later on. But thank you for taking time to be with us. He's filming this week Sweet Magnolias, right?
Yes, we're in season 5 of Sweet Magnolias. My character, Neville Wharton.
Who's I understand he's a fine man, Neville.
An upstanding citizen of Serenity, South Carolina, and
Right.
We will find out in episode 5 how much athletic prowess he has. I can't divulge a whole lot more than that, but suffice to say, I got
How old is this character?
He's my age. Actually, they have him as a couple of years older than me.
Yeah. So really, it could only be a couple of things. He's riding a bicycle, or maybe playing bocce ball, or perhaps an old man softball league. But who knows?
Let's just say I score the winning run.
Oh, okay. All right.
And it's not softball.
Okay. You know, it's funny you should say that. I worked with I wouldn't say I worked with. I tolerated a consultant out in San Diego one time, and I hate working with consultants most of the time.
I understand.
So this guy would fly in and crap on everything once a month, from Miami where he lived.
Right.
And the guy was a little bit younger than me. I'm 67. I would say he's probably about 62, 63. But he was playing in a fast-pitch men's adult baseball league.
Okay.
And the guy's like this tall and fat. And I went, what's the point? What's the point? But I guess if you enjoy it, you enjoy it, right?
And if you can do it, do it. I mean,
exactly.
Do those things as long as you can, because there will come a time when you can't.
When you can't,
so,
yeah.
And so this is the first time I was able to exercise some of those muscles and some of those skills in 30 years. And so it felt good.
Well, good. Can't wait to see it. I want to say right now on the podcast, Alpha, I was wrong. Last week, both on my walk in the woods that I do every day and here on the podcast, I was talking about Superman, and I predicted it was going to be a big bust because Superman had gone woke. And I was wrong, and I'll tell you what I was wrong about. Superman didn't go woke. The director went woke, and there's a difference. The director is out doing press conferences where he's saying things like, well, Superman is an immigrant. It's an immigrant movie. And so you thought, well, nobody wants to see that if that's what they're putting in the movie. You go woke, you go broke. And so I said, I think it'll be a bust. Well, it wasn't. It was huge at the box office over the weekend. I think it did $135 million. But the director goes to China and starts making the same kind of comments. And in China, where they thought it was going to do really well, it's flopping.
Well, James, the movie was shot here in Atlanta
Right.
At Trilla Studios, which I think is great, and I root for its success. And I, like you, heard some of those comments on his press junkets, and it's unfortunate when someone makes those kind of comments because it could tend to turn off a portion of the audience that would love to go see it. And so I'm happy for its success for a couple of reasons. It was shot here in Atlanta, and I know baby Superman.
Really?
Yeah. His mom is an actor and runs an acting studio here, and his dad is a filmmaker. And
How cool.
They have made films together, and I have been in one of their films. And the kid is just adorable. And
well, I saw the a clip yesterday, which is the first clip I've seen, and it made me want to go see it because of the dog. But I'm assuming the dog is CGI, right?
I can't say I know the dog. So
yeah. Well, in this clip, it's the big clip they've released where Superman crashes into the ground and he's bleeding out of his mouth and he's hurt really bad. And I'm thinking, like, how does Superman get hurt? But apparently there's some villain in this movie who's able to hurt him in some way. But he's laying there bleeding and in the snow, and he does this Superman whistle, that's like a minute long, real loud. And this goofy white dog, there's a cloud of snow comes toward him, and it's this goofy white dog, and the dog drags him back to Superman's house at the North Pole, and they give him a big dose of yellow sun, and he comes back. But when I first saw that director's comments, I thought, didn't they learn anything from Disney Snow White, where you had the actress out there making all sorts of political statements, and it just killed them? Yeah.
Well, I root for the film because of that, and so I haven't seen it yet, so I may go see that.
I haven't either, and I'm a big Superman fan, so
right.
I want it to do well. But Superman, as I said this about the director of the day, Superman only stands for three things: truth, justice, and the American way.
And the American way.
If you deviate from that plan, you've ruined Superman.
Well, and you and I grew up watching the TV show Superman
with George Reeves.
Where he would fly through the sky, and then he'd get on the ground, and somebody would shoot at him, and the bullets would bounce off of him, and then they'd throw the gun at him, and he'd duck.
Exactly. But you still love. We didn't realize that when we were kids.
Yeah.
We didn't think anything about that. Why he ducked? Maybe it just
Nor did we understand the romantic situation.
No, not at all. Not at all. Who knew?
Yeah.
So anyway, I'm planning to go see it, but I was wrong. Superman is not woke, just the director was. I don't mind saying I was wrong.
Well, it's a big man who could admit he's wrong.
I want to ask you about something else.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts on the Epstein files?
Man, I think this is dangerous for the Trump administration.
Mm-hmm.
Because Pam Bondi said, I've got the files I got the list, I got the files, we got video, thousands of hours of video, and I'm reviewing it now, and then all of a sudden there's no list.
Right.
We're not going to show you the video.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a sticky situation because if the roles were reversed, if this were the Obama administration or the Biden administration, and they made the same promise, then didn't deliver, then everybody would go, oh, that's because you might be incriminated on this. And so
it's a bad look.
Right.
It's a bad look. It was handled. I don't think that it was handled poorly. I don't think they really thought it out very well. But I mean, the bottom line is Obama and Biden, the FBI had this. If it was there, they had it the whole time anyway. They didn't do anything with it. My theory on it was that Epstein was a spy, most likely for Israel. He was a self-contained spy in that he used his abilities, and he was really good at it, to raise money. And he raised a lot of money as a investment firm or whatever. And then he would use the honeypot to trap people and get information out of them and get more money out of them. And he grew it and grew it. I just think that he probably had enough stuff on powerful people, both sides of the political spectrum and in business, internationally and domestically, that everybody got together and said, look, this guy's got to disappear, and all the stuff's got to disappear.
Yeah, so now the latest is Ghislaine Maxwell is supposed to be testifying in Congress.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there's going to be some of those congressmen, senators, whomever, will show up in disguise. Because if she starts pointing fingers, she may point fingers at people in the room.
Right.
And in the initial trial, when he was tried and convicted in Florida, the prosecutor testified later that he was told to back off of Epstein because he's owned by intelligence.
Right.
So, yeah, I think it's undeniable that he's involved with intelligence agencies.
You know, the sad
Here
part is
somewhere else.
it just points up that oftentimes our intelligence agencies, in their zeal to get intelligence, connect themselves with some really, really bad people. They do it with drug cartels, with drug dealers. They do it with mafia people. They do it with sex perverts and everybody else. And so I don't know if that's good or bad because they're doing it to protect the country. But clearly, this guy was a slime ball.
Yeah, and I think the cover is coming off of a lot of things that CIA and other agencies have done over the years. And you say for the good of the country, which wound up not being for the good of the country.
Sometimes it's not, and they're a lot like politicians inside the Beltway in that they're in their own little world at Langley, and they see everything through that prism, and every decision, everything that they do is baked into that prism, and they do things that the American people just go, huh? You did what? What?
Yeah, because if you're not careful, you'll get the impression that there are other powers and other beings elsewhere that are sort of pulling strings and manipulating and saying, hey, yeah, this is a good idea. Go do this. Go overturn this government, and it'll be good. And then they overturn the government, and then worse things happen in Libya, Iraq, and even ones before
Cuba, Iran. I mean, the list is endless. I don't know if you've seen this guy. I can't think of his name right now, but there's an ex-CIA guy who actually went to prison for 23 months. That worked for a while for John Kerry, and then he worked in the CIA when Brennan was there. But he's an insider, and when they decided they wanted to get rid of him, they took away his pension. He was supposed to go to one of those country club prisons.
Right.
Well, he showed up, and instead of going to the country club side, they put him in the other side with the pedophiles and the mafia people. And his lawyer said, it'll take me 2 years to get a hearing to get you moved, and your sentence is only 23 months. So they did that on purpose. But he goes on all these podcasts on Rogan and Patrick Bet-David's one, and he talks about how terrible Brennan was and all these people and the stuff that they do.
Yeah, and Brennan's name has been coming up over the past couple of weeks, along with James Comey.
Well,
and
they perjured themselves, apparently.
Well, do you know who John Solomon is? John Solomon's a real journalist, an honest investigative journalist, and he is promising that sometime this week there's going to be some huge news coming out about investigations into to Brennan and to Comey, and he says people on the right, GOP in particular, will be very excited about what's going to happen.
All right. Well, I mean, it's somebody has to hold them accountable. I mean, here's a guy who's talking now about, I can't believe they're weaponizing the government against me. I'm clutching my pearls. When that's exactly what they did.
Yeah, when he was in State Department stationed in Riyadh, he approved the
visas for the 9/11 people, right? And the guy that I'm talking about, that's the ex-CIA guy that went to prison, he talks about how unqualified Brennan was.
Right.
That Brennan was just a hard-drinking guy that hung on the coattails of everybody. And the reason that Brennan wound up in such great position was that there was this mass retirement from the CIA after Bush, and half of them went to the retirees, half of them went to the Hillary Clinton campaign, half of them went to the Bush campaign. The only one that went to Obama was Brennan. And he got lucky and saved his career, and he became a deputy director and then later director of the CIA.
Well, there was a woman, apparently, I can't remember her name, who was his superior.
Exactly. He talks about her. What's her name? They hated each other.
Right, and she refused to give him a promotion.
She fired him, and then he came back and he fired her. Right?
He fired her.
Yeah. It's a backstabbing business. Well, I'm with you. It's a dirty. It didn't turn out well. They didn't handle it well at all.
So I hope there's some way that this is rescued, I mean, we can't, for the good of the country. I don't care how you feel about the administration currently in office. This kind of thing cannot be allowed to continue. I mean, you can't go on with crimes like that being committed against people we can point to and identify.
Right.
By people you can point to and identify. And if there are no consequences to it, there's no consequences for anything.
Well, I'll tell you, it reminds me a little bit. And by the way, on History City, which is my other YouTube channel, we have a big documentary about the JFK assassination coming up. And, same way, Trump promised that they were going to release all the Kennedy documents, all of them.
Yeah.
And they did. But they're so heavily redacted, you can't tell what many of them say.
All right.
Now, there are some people, and we've read reports that they've done that have combed through them and came up with some new stuff that you'll find interesting in this docuseries we're doing. But I was 5 years old when that happened. I'm 67. Nobody cares anymore. Everybody's dead that had anything to do with it. I think what they don't want you to know is that the CIA may have helped get rid of him in some way. That's what they don't want to come out. But the American public wants transparency on that.
Well, you've got to feel like you can trust or believe in something.
Right.
And if all these years, then it turns out our own government assassinated our own duly elected president.
It's bad.
What else are they capable of?
It's a bad look. It's bad.
Yeah,
well, they're capable of anything. Is what they're capable of.
And getting away with it. And that's.
But I think most people in America now, I know I do it with, I can just tell when politicians are lying. Particularly Schumer and Nancy Pelosi and people like that. They just come out and they say the most outrageous things with absolutely no proof whatsoever, and they just say the same things over and over and over. They don't get into any detail whatsoever on anything.
Yeah, I agree with you. I hear them speak sometimes, and I go, you can't in your soul actually believe what you're saying right now.
Yeah, it's like during Biden when Jean, what's her name, the press secretary would get up and people would say, tell us about the president's mental acuity. He's as sharp as a tack. You better be ready for a meeting if you go in there with him. He'll dice you up and spit you up. And we're all going, who are you meeting with? Because it's not the guy we see over and over and over. You're just lying.
My dad had dementia, and so I was seeing, even before the election, in the campaign.
I saw it too.
I was seeing things that he was doing. I go, God, that looks awfully familiar.
And the shuffling.
If you're not ready to take the keys from him right now, then much less give him the nuclear football for crying out loud.
And that business of the 25th Amendment, I don't even think anybody would pull the plug on in either party. I don't think anyone would exercise that anymore.
And now you got people saying, well, Biden was fine, but you better check Trump because I think he's mentally unbalanced.
Yeah, and I see him stand up in front of reporters for an hour and a half and take any question.
Taking random questions. Yeah,
anything. Well, I fully expected first thing this morning, maybe there's other stuff going on and they've got it planned for later, but I fully expected President Trump or the White House to announce a big lawsuit today against A.O.C. Because Alexandria Cortez over the weekend just came out and tweeted, I can't believe we're allowing a racist, I don't even remember what the tweet, but she called the president a rapist.
A rapist. Yes.
And that is slander because he's never been convicted of raping anybody. He lost a civil case where a woman said he molested her in a dressing room 30 years ago or something. A big difference. And this could really ruin her financially. And I fully expect him to sue her.
Well, when you're talking about slander, you have to show that it was a lie, provable lie, that it was delivered maliciously, and it caused harm. So if you meet those three criterion, then you can, I think, successfully sue and win on slander charges.
By the way, I've lost your video feed. Hopefully, hopefully that'll come back because we got to see. You know, you're a handsome actor. I'm an ugly DJ. We got to get you back. There you go. Now you're back.
Good.
Now you're back. I think that criteria is there.
Yeah, and she has to prove that he is actually a rapist.
Right.
Now, see, if you say things like A.O.C. is a moron, that's an opinion, you see. Right. There's no measure for that. I mean, she may be moron adjacent or moron light.
Right.
But there's no yardstick to say what a moron is. If you have that opinion, then it's fine. But if you accuse somebody of being a rapist or a murderer, then you have to prove that standard. Exactly. Or you have slandered that person. And it's.
Well, I hope that he does, and I hope that he wins, because I'm tired of politicians just making baseless accusations. Over the weekend, I don't know if you saw this or not, but I have several. The list gets longer every year, but one of my least favorite members of Congressman is Debbie Wasserman Shultz, who has won the Congressional Award for Worst Hairdo 5 or 6 years running. But she, all these Democrats, particularly on the progressive wing, they all want to go to the ICE detention places and try to bust in the gates and, get shown, being pushed around by ICE. But we're fighting for you, when they know they're not going to let them in when they show up. Well, she did something a little bit different. She actually she went through the proper channels, made an appointment, and shows up at Alligator Alcatraz down in Florida over the weekend, where she represents the state of Florida. And so she goes inside, takes a tour, and we've all seen the videos of the inside. It's a great big building with a concrete floor. They put up chain link fencing to create cells. There are cots and bunk beds and bathrooms. They have food trucks that are making food to bring in for them 3 times a day, and it's air conditioned. But if you go on social media, oh my God, those poor people are living in tents, being eaten alive by mosquitoes, and God forbid we get a hurricane or they'll all die and drown. It's just hyperbole over the top. But go ahead.
It kind of looks like a Marine Corps barracks.
Yeah, it does. Exactly.
So, I mean, bunk beds, all communal kind of stuff. It's like,
so she takes her tour, and then she comes out, and of course she has to have a press conference to show what she's found, because you can't go in there and not find something. You got to find something if you're going to make this big show. So she comes out and she goes, well, in addition to them being held in cages. And I thought, they're cells. If you want to call them cages, they're cells made out of chain link fence. You don't want to throw 5,000 people in one big room. You got to kind of separate them because they're all from different countries and different gangs, and that would be a problem. So she says that, and then she goes, but the worst thing is they're forced to brush their teeth in the same room where they poop. And I went, guess what? So do I. I don't know what kind of fancy congressional bathroom you have. Do you have a separate room for brushing your teeth and a separate room for pooping? But I have a bathroom. There's a toilet, and a few steps away is a sink where I brush my teeth.
Yeah, unless they're forced to brush their teeth with the toilet brush.
Right.
Shouldn't be a big issue.
So I put that on my walk in the woods this morning, and I had several people comment that they're using it's a pretty standard setup. It's a prison toilet, and what they have, it's a toilet, and then off to the side of it, from the same fresh water supply, they have a little sink where they brush their teeth. So it's a little closer to the toilet than ours at home is. But I don't think most of the American people are going to hear that and go, "Oh my Lord, that's terrible."
Well, in Japan, a lot of public restrooms have the same sort of setup.
Right.
The toilet here and the sink right next to it, because the water just runs from here to there, and it doesn't run out of the toilet into the sink. But I mean, it's right there. So,
and then somebody said, I wondered how many of those people brushed their teeth on the way up riding on top of those trains from Honduras anyway. Or how many of them had toothbrushes? At least there they get toothpaste and a toothbrush. So,
but they had new Nikes and cell phones. So
right. So I was on yesterday. I'm in the house trying to keep cool because, it's so hot and dry. It's just been absolutely outrageous, 96, 97 every day. So I'm doom scrolling on the TikTok. And this, I can anyway, I don't know. I have Libdar where I can spot certain people and just know that they're really super left-wing liberals, just by the way they look, the number of piercings, what kind of glasses they have on, the way and the smugness that they have on their face. You can just kind of spot it from a mile away. So it's this young woman, I would say she was 30, 31, something like that. And she's here in Charlotte. And she's in North Charlotte somewhere, downtown. And she's on the sidewalk, and she goes, I'm relatively new to Charlotte, and here in the Deep South, I'm still trying to get, I immediately think, honey, you ain't in the Deep South. You're in Charlotte. You're a long way from the Deep South. She goes, but I'm getting used to some of the southern things here. Goes, but this marker on the sidewalk really took me by surprise today. And it was, the marker said, Jefferson Davis was standing in this spot when he received word of Lincoln's assassination. And she goes, what are they trying to say? What narrative are they trying to push by having this here? And I thought, you're standing in a historical place where something historical happened. That's it. There's nothing more to it than that.
We sort of jumped a shark here a few years ago with a lot of this. And when you start ignoring history, sometimes you're not necessarily glorifying it, but you're just acknowledging
it's just a historical fact. You're standing in the same place,
right,
where something, when something historical happened, a leader of the other side happened to be standing here when it happened. It's just something to make you think, like, what was he thinking about? What was happening? What were the people around here doing? It's just a historical fact, that's all.
Right. And you could acknowledge those things without glorifying it or without saying you're on one side or the other, because it was 150 years ago. Mm-hmm. And, we kind of gone crazy. I don't know if you remember in Afghanistan when the Taliban took over. They started destroying Hindu temples and
Buddhist temples,
churches, statues, and beautiful artwork. They just started destroying everything.
Right.
So they weren't making the statement they were making was not the one they intended to make. I think it's that we're so backward, we're going to destroy every piece of this country's history, and then we're going to say history begins with us right now.
Right.
But that's not the way it is. I mean, 150 years ago, there was a different world and different thoughts and different. And so if we just refuse to acknowledge that the world was different 150 years ago, then we've wasted 150 years.
Yeah, it just really hit me wrong. It's typical of you see this all the time where people move here to Charlotte from New York or Pennsylvania, and they go, back in New York, we do things well, good for you. Why the hell did you move here then?
Right.
Don't come here and tell it all the stuff we're doing wrong.
Well, that's the same thing. I don't know if you saw the protest in Mexico City.
I did. Ago. Where they're attacking the tourists in the restaurants and breaking windows.
Yeah, they were holding up signs saying, "Pay taxes here, learn to speak the language, and honor our culture." Mm-hmm. That's fair enough. But how about making that happen here? I mean,
right?
If you're going to come to this country, pay taxes if you're going to live here.
And they were spray painting "Kill a Gringo." I saw that a couple of times on the wall. It was very ugly. It's weird to see that on in Mexico City. And I didn't know Mexico City had become such a tourist attraction. I saw that Denzel Washington movie where they kidnapped that little girl, and I've never wanted to go there. Mm-hmm. Remember that one?
Before I forget, back to A.O.C. for a bit.
Yeah.
Have you seen the numbers on how much her net worth has increased?
Yeah. Since
she left being a bartender?
Right.
To become a member of Congress?
They all do it now. They all get rich. In fact, there's a app now, Alpha. It's called Dub. Have you heard about this?
Yeah.
Okay, there's an app called Dub, and you can follow all the successful members of Congress who buy and sell stocks. Number one by far is Nancy Pelosi.
Yeah.
But like Tommy Tuberville, the old football coach, has made millions and 1000000s of dollars while he's been a senator. Yeah, you get a lot of inside information that you can act on. You're not supposed to, and the ethics committee never seems to do anything about it. I guess they file it with the JFK and the Epstein stuff because it never comes to light, any of it.
And the same thing is true for members of the Supreme Court when you become a justice. And it's not necessarily insider trading, but you get a big book deal offer where you're given millions in advance to write a book. And so once whoever funds those dollars from whatever publishing company, then they go, we gave you all this money to write this book, so maybe you want to flavor it this way.
It's kind of like this same thing happened with presidents when they leave office. I mean, Obama made millions and millions of dollars. Carter wrote a lot of books. I think George Bush got some help and wrote a book. Have you seen Michelle Obama has a podcast now?
Yeah.
She does it with her brother, and I've seen some of it, and she is the whiniest woman I've ever seen, particularly First Lady. I saw one the other day, a clip where she was saying, it costs a lot of money to be First Lady. You have to pay to fly your kids with you to Italy for a month. And I'm thinking, like, your husband makes $400,000 a year for being. You get free housing, you get free food, medical, everything. Why we don't understand how it's expensive to be in the White House. Plus, you made all that money on speaking and books and everything. You bought a house in Hawaii. You bought a house so shut up about your whining about being poor.
And she's saying some things about Barack that make you go, wow.
Yeah, I think their relationship is really rocky.
Because I don't know if you heard what she said about having two girls, and she's glad they didn't have a boy because he would have been Barack Obama.
I saw that. That's not a good look either.
Whoa.
And is it just me, or she looks really different?
There's a lot of stories.
Yeah. What is it some people call her? They call her
Mike. Big Mike.
Yeah, Big Mike. They call her Big Mike. I don't know about all that, but
I don't know about that either.
I'll tell you. I like to give everybody a chance. And when he got elected, I thought, okay, he got elected, fine. Let's see what he does. I didn't know him. I didn't have anything against him. I didn't know it. But one of the first things in the first year of the presidency, I heard her say, and this really hit me the wrong way. She said, because I thought, well, maybe it will help race relations in the country. We have an African-American president in the White House. She said, somebody asked her the question, something like, Michelle, how do you feel about race relations in the United States right now? And she said, well, I do live in a house that was built by slaves. So there's that. And I thought, wouldn't it have been much better if you said, well, we've come a long way. I mean, I live in a house that was occupied by white men at one point, and it was built by slaves. And today there's an African-American couple living in that house elected by the people. Mm-hmm. We've come a long way. We got a long way to go. You know what I mean?
Right.
I just thought that would have brought people together more than divide people. But
she also said, for the first time in my adult life, I'm proud to be an American, which, as First Lady, again, whatever you think about their administration versus this administration, if you're the First Lady of the United States, it probably would behoove you to express something a little bit more appreciative, like
be a little more positive, be a little positive about America.
Right.
All right, Alpha. So you're working on the Sweet Magnolias this week. You're working 12-hour. He's killing himself, folks, trying to bring you the entertainment that's available on cable. Right? Where does that show air exactly?
It's on Netflix.
Netflix.
Yes.
And by the way, I forgot, it was the #1 show on Netflix there for a while recently.
In each of the 4 seasons, goes to number one immediately and stays there for several weeks, and in fact is number one in the world for Netflix.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And then remains in the top 10 for a number of weeks, which is interesting because I would love to see the broadcasts in other countries because I understand it's translated.
Sure.
So I would love to hear how I would sound, my darling, if I was speaking in some other foreign language.
I don't know about you, but you get bait and switched all the time on Netflix and Prime when you go to the show looks really good and you go and it's dubbed.
Yeah.
It comes from Turkey or Japan or something, and the lips are moving and the voice is different. I hate that, but hopefully they do a better job with your stuff than that.
And the voices don't seem to match the character.
Right.
You got some little wimpy guy going,
Exactly.
Yeah. Really
So
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, so you're working Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday this week?
On hold. Actually working for sure Tuesday, Thursday, on hold for Wednesday, and then I teach an acting class here, and so I've got class coming up on.
And where are you shooting right now?
It's all of it's shot in Covington.
Okay. That's the Covington's really a big place for
Covington, Georgia. Yeah, about 25 miles east of Atlanta. There's several shows. In fact, there's a couple of shows shooting there right now.
Yeah, I just saw a guy the other day who's from here in North Carolina. He's a developer and he's got a TikTok channel now. And him and his daughter have several Airbnbs in Covington. And he said, "You're probably wondering why Covington." He goes, "It's like one of the top places where they're doing films and movies and stuff," and He goes, "It's booked all the time." So
plus it's a quaint downtown, with typical southern city with the town square and an older courthouse.
It's like my hometown, Cedartown. They've done probably 10 movies downtown Cedartown. Same thing. It's a quaint old downtown with old closed up stores on both sides of the street. It's not real big, and there's a courthouse, and they've used it they come in and they put dirt on the streets.
Sure.
And you bring horses and wagons through, and it looks like the 1890s,
Or in the middle of August, you put white batting all over the ground and make it look like it's December, which is what we did for the Waltons' homecoming.
Well, we're out of time, Alpha. Thank you for being with us. And Alpha's going to come back. We don't know what day yet. We're going to pick a day, but he's going to be a special co-host one day a week with us on the Jack Murphy podcast. And good luck with your filming.
Thank you.
But we appreciate it. And don't forget to like and subscribe to the Jack Murphy podcast. And if you want more long-form content, as I said, we have another channel called History City. And go over there. You'll find all sorts of interesting documentaries and historical list, and we have a big JFK documentary coming up. But thanks for watching, and have a great day.
Thanks for watching the Jack Murphy Podcast. Remember to like, subscribe, and ring that bell. Go ahead, ring it. Get alerts when a new episode drops, and tell your friends about the Jack Murphy Podcast. But only the cool friends, please. Tune in next time for another episode of the Jack Murphy Podcast.